All right, good morning. Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I almost said October 24th. I jumped forward 2 months. I was staring at my Halloween cup and August 24th, right? Not October. But good morning. Welcome all to our second Abnormal Psychology live stream. I see a lot of you putting your names in the chat. That's perfect. Please make sure that you put your first and last name in the chat. So that I have record of those of you who are here. Can someone let me know? Can you hear me and see me? Okay, before I keep going. Wait just a minute as everybody's getting logged in. Hey, perfect. Thank you, Susan. Thank you for letting me know. Hopefully, yes. Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm always worried that I'll just keep talking, and I'm sure somebody would let me know if you couldn't hear me or see me. But thank you for those of you who are here with me live, and if you're watching this later, that's fine as well. But thank you for those of you who are here with me early on a Tuesday. I hope everyone is hanging in there. Had a good first week of classes last week. We're in week number 2 already. It's flying by. It's practically October, like I mentioned earlier. Not really. But what we'll do today should be a little bit shorter than last week. What I'll do is I'll give you some feedback from week number 1, just highlighting a couple of things from the first discussion. I'll talk a little bit about how you can find your grades if you haven't seen them already. I'll go over some of the requirements for week number 2 and kind of highlight what is due this week. I'll give you the Twitch extra credit question, and then of course see if you have any questions for me, and we'll end with some time for you to ask me anything related to the class. So thank you again for those of you who are here. I know it's early in the morning, but I appreciate your company nonetheless. And I've had my coffee. Hopefully you have yours as well if you drink coffee. But I want to remind you really quickly, and a lot of you have done this, but don't forget, and I'll put this in the chat here. Don't forget to every single week, if you could just do a quick check to make sure that you still have the little crown or football cake next to your name. It is good for 30 days, so you probably shouldn't have to worry about it for another couple of weeks. But if you haven't done that yet, see if you can figure out a way to subscribe to my Twitch channel just to not get those ads, and so that I can download your name for participation. And remember to never pay for it. If it's going to cost you money, then just go ahead and follow me and don't pay for it, please. So let's go to Canvas together. And we'll take a look. And again, if you have questions at any point, please feel free to put them in the chat. I am monitoring it on my phone. So if you put questions in there, I will hopefully not miss them and get to them quickly for you. But as I said, we are in week number 2. And remember that Canvas has a weird thing with the to-do list that is over here on the right. It doesn't mark things off for you. You have to kind of manually be like, oh, yes, I have done that. So you can keep track over here with the to-do list. But I think what is much better is remember that everything is organized by week, right? So if you click on week number 2, for example, it's going to give you everything that is due this week, right? So all of the materials that are due this week are organized under week number 2, and so you can see what is required of you. But I do want to go back just for a moment and talk about week number 1. Gosh, the college keeps sending me emails here. Stop it. So week number 1, you were in charge of chapter 1, which is one of my favorite chapters, actually, looking at how we viewed abnormality in the past. And so I hope you enjoyed kind of learning about exorcisms and demonic possession a little bit. A good time of year to be talking about those things. Usually right about now, I started on my Insidious and Conjuring and Halloween movie marathons. So hopefully you found that really interesting. The discussion for last week was looking at those different scenarios, right? So we had those 4 different people, and you were discussing whether or not you thought they had a disorder. And there really wasn't a right or wrong answer to any of these. So what I was looking for was you to kind of critically think about, whether or not these people have a mental illness. And I think The only one that I would say definitely had a mental illness was the one who experienced no guilt, very much like a kind of a sociopath or psychopath, which is called antisocial personality disorder. But for the most part, I was really happy with what I saw. Most of you did a wonderful job kind of describing your thoughts, talking about some of the stereotypes and associations with therapy and therapists, people who go to therapy. Of course, there were a lot of mentions of couches and taking notes and nodding and how does that make you feel? The follow-up to that, by the way, is tell me more about that. But a lot of wonderful thoughts and associations. So overall, very, very nicely done. The biggest reasons that people lost points, there were two of them. One of them was not giving me enough detail. Right? So oftentimes, if you lose points, it's oftentimes going to be because you didn't elaborate enough. And I did give that comment to quite a few of you if I was looking for just a little bit more. So make sure that you are thinking of these almost like little mini papers and give me enough detail to show me that you understand and can apply the materials. The other big reason that people lost points, a lot of you forgot to respond to a peer. So remember that you're not only responding to my questions, and that is the bulk of your points, but all of your classmates are responding, and you need to pick one of them and reply to a peer. And it is only worth 2 points, but those 2 points will start to add up. So you want to make sure that you are definitely doing that every week. Any of your peers, anybody is fine. It's just a couple of sentences. Maybe you agree or disagree with their idea, but a couple of thoughts to reply to somebody else in the class. So those were the biggest things that I saw last week. For the most part, again, really, really nicely done. I enjoyed reading your associations and stereotypes and thoughts. And make sure that you're giving me enough. What a lot of people will do, and what I always do in online classes, is I'll kind of scroll through and read everybody's really quickly, right? And that's not cheating in any way, as long as you're coming up with your own ideas. But what I'll often do is be like, oh, okay, this looks like it's kind of about, the length that most people are doing. And if I see that mine is drastically shorter, then I might consider making it a little bit lengthier or elaborating a little more. So just a little tip for you there. And then the extra credit for last week, what are the 5 Ds of abnormality? Most of you got that perfectly and got those 2 points for joining me. And I did post the recording of last week's Twitch live stream, which I'll do again today. So once we're done today, I will post the recording of it right here under this link, so you are able to watch it later if you weren't able to make the whole thing live this morning. So the only other thing that I want to mention as far as last week goes, and I sent this out in the announcement today, or yesterday rather, I'm sorry, we're in week number 2. So for week number 2, I sent out this announcement kind of reminding you of the things that are due this week, which I'll do every week. But I included a video here if you are wondering, how do I find my grade? How do I find my feedback and my grade from last week? I did make a short video highlighting how you could do that. So if you are curious or couldn't find it, this video might be helpful for you. It was under the announcement that went out yesterday. You can also find that same video under the help and campus resources, finding your grades and feedback. Are there any questions or thoughts? So I'm going to put this in the chat here. Any questions or thoughts at all about anything from last week before we go ahead and talk about the things that are due this week? I just want to make sure if you have any lingering thoughts, opinions, questions, anything at all, this would be a great time to share those. I'll wait just a minute just to make sure. Can you show on the discussion post where you mentioned needing to reply to a peer? I don't know if I remember seeing it. So it's in the syllabus and it's in the mandatory orientation. I can show you how to do it. Baby duck lane. I can show you how to do that when we talk about discussion 2 in just a moment. So I'd be happy to show you how to do that. But it is a requirement it says it in the syllabus and also the orientation. So just make sure that you're doing that for every single one of them, moving forward, at least. All right. My cat is so close. I'm like, I can almost reach you, drag you into the stream. Constantly want to drag those cats in, right? Okay. focusing back, ignoring the cats. So this week for our second week of the class, we're looking at chapter 2, and we're going to set the stage for a couple of weeks. Chapters 1, 2, and 3 kind of get us all the information before we talk about the disorders, right? Me too, right? I love my cats. Here, let's see if I can reach him. He might not be happy with me, but I think I can reach him. Come here, Rolly. Oh, yeah, got him. So this is Rolly. A very modest pose here, but this is my favorite cat. This is Muchacho, or Rolly, because he like 101 Dalmatians, the like I'm hungry mother. He's always hungry, and he's my sweet little boy, right? As I say that as he like looks like he's gonna bite me, but yes, he usually comes and sits right behind my computer for my streams, and oftentimes plays with my like lanyard and pushes on my screen. So hopefully he'll be a good boy today. But yes, that's one cat. If another one comes close, I will scoop them up as well. We need distractions in life, right? We need cats in order to get us through this year. So anyway, focusing back, but yes, that is my cat Rolly. So now we've seen Rolly, and if Binks comes a little closer, I'll grab him next. But I love that. I love the picture with the sunglasses. So cute. So as I said, chapter 2 this week, we're looking at the models of abnormality. And I did post the slides for you right here. So if you click on the slides and open those up, you'll see we're going to talk a little bit about the different viewpoints or models of abnormality. And I posted the slides, but I also did a lecture video for you, as I will do every week. So if you click right here on chapter 2 lecture video, somebody emailed me yesterday and said the link was requiring a password. Zoom has been having a hard time keeping up with, I think, the demand this week. I'm not sure what's going on. But I did post another video here, and this one seems to be working fine. So just make sure that you're watching this whole lecture video.
Hey everybody, this week we are looking at chapter.
You don't need two of me talking at once. But you'll see the lecture video here. There are a bunch of little clips in here which I think are really helpful for understanding the information. So make sure that you do watch the chapter 2 lecture video that I posted for you. You might consider taking notes. You can watch it as many times as you would like. It's about 35 minutes or so. But you can take notes on it if you need to, or just know that it's there for you if you would like to go back and watch it again. I also posted a couple of little videos here that I would like you to watch that I didn't want to put in the lecture. So when we talk about the different models and the different ways of approaching therapy, there was a really wonderful session that was done many years ago at this point with a volunteer named Gloria. And this woman, Gloria, who you can see right here in this picture, Gloria volunteered to work with 3 different therapists and to come in with like an issue in mind to talk about. And so what Gloria did is she worked with Carl Rogers and Fritz Perls and one other, but I wanted you to get an idea of how different models approach therapy in different ways. And if you've ever been to therapy, you know that therapists can be very different in their approaches and their theoretical orientations. But what you'll get to see here first is Rogers talking a little bit about how he does therapy. And then a few minutes of Rogers working with Gloria. And then you'll see Fritz Perls talking about how he does therapy, and a few minutes of him working with Gloria as well. And they're completely different perspectives. Really, really interesting to compare how Rogers and Perls work with the same woman who came in with the same issue in mind. And once you've watched these, you can think about which one you would like to do over the other. But very interesting. Gloria gets a little frustrated with both of them for different reasons. And I think it's a wonderful example showing you those different modalities and how different models will work on therapy. So I hope you enjoy watching those. So again, you have the chapter in the book for this week. So make sure you're reading chapter 2. And if it were me, I would probably do that first. Read through the chapter to get that nice overview, and then I would watch the lecture video and the chapter 2 therapy styles video that I posted for you. The other requirements for this week, you don't need to take notes on the therapy styles video, no. So the videos, these won't be on the exam, but they are definitely something interesting to think about. And I highlighted them a little bit in the lecture video. but mainly here. But no, I don't think you need to take notes. Just pay attention and enjoy them. Of course, no problem. Thank you for asking a question. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. I get so excited when there's a comment in the chat. So thank you. The discussion video here, discussion number 2. So for this week, I made a little case study for you. So I wrote out a story about a young man named Mark. And so this is the story. It's relatively brief, just 3 paragraphs. But what you're going to be doing is you're going to be using the knowledge that you have gained on the different models and applying them to Mark. So you'll read this case study, and then how would you explain Mark's behavior and pathology from each of the following perspectives? So think of the key concepts and ideas from each of the models that we talked about in the lecture and in the book. And then you're going to explain Mark's behavior from each one of them. You're welcome to speculate a little bit. There's definitely some overlap, but you can get a few ideas for each one of these perspectives. From a biological model, how could you explain Mark's behavior? From a Freudian psychodynamic, behavioral, cognitive, humanistic, existential, and sociocultural. So what I'd like you to do is to read through this and then find little parts of it that you can connect to the key ideas in each one of these models. And I'm looking to see that you can apply the knowledge that you've gained. I do have a video up here at the top, so there's a little more information if you'd like to watch that. But again, this will be your discussion for this week. Oh, it looks like we have a question. Sorry. Quick question regarding ECT. I read that it's now used with anesthesia. How often is it used? One flew over, right? I'm not sure what you said there. Sorry, it kind of blurred out here. But so ECT is no longer the main way of doing shock therapy or brain stimulation. There's a newer method called TMS, transcranial magnetic stimulation, which is really gaining a lot of popularity because it is quite a bit less intense for the person receiving it. But it is still something that's done. There are a lot of people who receive electroconvulsive therapy, and it tends to be something that is done in like a series. And so what you often see is that somebody will have many sessions of it done over like a 6 to 12 week period of time. It's an outpatient procedure. They typically give you a muscle relaxant. So more than anesthesia, what they'll do is they'll give you a muscle relaxant so that you're calm. Oftentimes something like a Valium or something that you might take just to calm you down and make your muscles not so tense, because people will often flail and get a little agitated as part of it. So it's something that is still practiced, but again, it's never a first line of defense. It does tend to have some side effects like memory loss and disorientation and confusion. But there are newer methods that are starting to take over. They're just really expensive, so they're not being practiced nearly as frequently. I thought your live streams were on Wednesdays, so I'm assuming, I'm not sure how to say, is that Quiana Isabel? Yes, so this is for my abnormal psychology class. So if you are in my intro psych class, then our live stream is tomorrow morning. You're welcome to stay, but yes, you would want to come back tomorrow for our intro psych live stream. Okay. All right. So I hope that answers your question. But yes, the electroconvulsive therapy clip in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is very much how it used to look. I mean, that's like 1970s portrayal of that right there. Now it is something that's a little more humane. It's an outpatient procedure. Someone has to drive you to and from, but with the muscle relaxant, it doesn't tend to be so harsh. So make sure when you're ready to do this, when you're ready to answer the discussion, once you've done the lecture and the reading and so on, what you'll do is you'll hit reply right here at the bottom, and this will allow you to type your response to reply to my questions. And as I mentioned to you before, it might not be an awful idea to type that in like a document somewhere and save it, just in case there's an issue or it gets lost somehow. But once you're ready, you will type your response here, and then you'll hit post reply. And nobody has replied yet, which is totally fine. It's only Tuesday. But what you'll see as well is once people start replying underneath it, you can click on anyone's post and also hit reply. So very important that you're replying to my post to get those 13 points or so, and then also replying to at least one peer. You only need to do one. in order to get those 2 points for the peer response. So for this week, those are the big things, right? Make sure you read chapter 2 in the textbook, watch the lecture video and the therapy styles videos, complete discussion number 2, and then I'll give you the Twitch extra credit question here in just a moment, which is obviously optional, but by joining me here today and putting your name in the chat, then you can answer this question for those 2 points. About half of you did it last week. And again, I would definitely encourage you to do these. What that will mean is you can earn quite a few points of extra credit over the course of the semester. So let me do a couple of things here. So first, just a quick reminder, I'm putting this in the chat, our next Twitch live stream will be on Tuesday next week. What is Tuesday next week? Tuesday the 31st, the last day of August, Tuesday 8/31 at 8:30 a.m. Right, so we'll try and stick to that day and time unless I think the following week there's a holiday on that day, so it might be moved. But our next Twitch live stream will be on Tuesday 8/31 at 8:30, and again these will run about 30 to 40 minutes depending on the week. Definitely a little shorter this week than last week. The other thing to give you, I'm going to give you the Twitch extra credit question for this week. And so this is really the focus of the entire week, right? We're talking about models of abnormality. So your Twitch extra credit question, and I'm putting it in the chat, is what is a model and why are they important, right? So what is a model and why are they important? And when you're ready to answer that, you'll head over to Canvas. And in week number 2, you'll click on Twitch extra credit number 2 down here at the bottom. Then you'll click on Start Assignment up here at the top, and that'll open up a little text box for you where you can type your response. And then when you're ready for confetti, well, that rhymed unintentionally, right? When you're ready, you'll hit Submit, and it'll give you that little burst of confetti saying you successfully submitted. If you need to add more or try again, you can hit New Attempt. But that's where you'll go ahead and answer that question if you want to earn those 2 points of extra credit for joining me today. And I believe those are the big things I wanted to go over, the reminders for this week, feedback from last week. Are there any general questions about anything from this week or last week, the class in general? Any questions or comments on anything at all? Otherwise, we're at about 25 minutes, and then what I'll normally do, as I said, is save the last 10 minutes or so for questions. So if you need to take off, we're kind of officially done, but what I'll do is hang out for about 10 more minutes or so. If you do have any questions related to the course, I'm here, and it's a wonderful chance to ask me. Otherwise, make sure you get going on everything for this week. If you are hoping to add the class, I did send out a couple of emails to people on the wait list saying make sure to email me for an add code. So if you are on the wait list, make sure that you send me an email to get that code so I can get you enrolled and set to go. Also, don't forget if you have an access memo to make sure that you get that to me so that I can get you all set up before we have our first exam in a few weeks. So if you don't have any questions, make sure you put your first and last name in the chat somewhere, or make sure that you had subscribed. If you have the crown or the cake, you don't need to put your name in the chat. I will be able to download that after. Question for anyone who can answer. On my Prime account, it says that my Twitch is linked, but when I come on here, it still does not give me the option. So I actually see a crown right here next to your name, so you are subscribed. So you're all set to go. So it looks like you have already done it, and maybe that's why it's not giving you that option. So remember I showed you two last week. I can go on to Twitch really quick and show you. So just a second here. Let me go back to Twitch. If I go back to Twitch here, remember that you can, if you're trying to subscribe, so I have to go to somebody else's channel. So let me go to my buddy Nikki and Steven, love my buddies here. Remember that when you're trying to subscribe for free, if you click on this purple box right here, there is a message. It's way down here, right? all tiny with the crown where it says use Prime sub. And if you click on that, then you could subscribe for free for 1 month with Prime. And remember, it's kind of hidden, which is a little obnoxious, right? But it's free, so they obviously, I think they are banking on not everybody using it, but it's down here where it says that. So if you're on my channel, you go to this purple bar, click on the arrow, and then all the way down here, use Prime sub, click that, and then you could subscribe for free for 1 month with Prime. And again, if you don't have Prime, I did send you that link on how to get it for free for 6 months, but at the very least, just try and at least follow me. That way you're not trying to find my videos, every week when I post them for you. Another question, if a person exhibits suicidal behavior, expresses it, as in Eric, I think it is a disorder, ? So suicidality is not actually a disorder in itself, right? It's a very kind of risk-related behavior that is often very correlated with mood disorders. But I think, for example, like with Eric, his suicidality makes me nervous that his emotionality and depression is high enough that I might categorize it as a disorder. So for Eric, for example, I would have leaned toward a disorder because of his suicidality. So suicidality isn't necessarily a disorder, but it is a symptom of many disorders like depression. It's oftentimes a symptom of things like borderline personality disorder, suicidal behaviors. So it can definitely be something that kind of gives us a red flag. And with Eric, I would think that his suicidality is a red flag, that he has gone beyond kind of normal coping and a more typical reaction to something that's more intense and probably disordered. Pauline says, me too, right? And I think the really interesting thing about those case studies is we tend to have this idea that disorders are very black and white. Like you have it or you don't, it's clear cut. But a lot of people struggle with mental illness. And how do you know when anxiety goes beyond kind of normal and typical and into a disorder, right? And especially this year, right? Take this year with COVID. I mean, my anxiety is through the roof always, right? Every time we go out in the world, I'm like, where's your hand sanitizer? Where's your mask? Just constant anxiety and fear about, my kids' health and my health. And is that normal or is it disordered? And there's not a clear line for that. But when it starts affecting your life and causing you distress and impairment, then we start to say that it's more of a mental illness. Would depression be considered an abnormal disorder? Definitely. Depression is a mental illness and a disorder that's diagnosable. So yes, depression would count. Is there a case where suicidality wouldn't be a red flag for a disorder? So I think you have to look at the whole picture. And I love that you're asking questions. Thank you. Let's say that you just lost somebody really important in your life, right? Maybe a parent or a partner, somebody broke up with you, you lost your job, right? And you're sitting there wondering, is it worth living? And you feel hopeless and you're considering suicidality. That's a cause for concern, but it might not be that we think you have a disorder yet. And so that's why I added that 5th D of duration. If somebody's suicidal for a long time and they're suffering with depression for longer than you would expect, then we start to wonder about a mental illness. So it doesn't have to be if someone's suicidal, they have a mental illness. It could just be a result of things going on in their life. But in general, suicidality is something to take seriously, right? People considering ending their life is something that we want to react and respond to. So it is definitely a red flag, even if it doesn't indicate a disorder. Okay. All right. I love it. Thank you for asking questions. Makes me so happy. I miss seeing you all in person, so thank you for participating and asking. I'm going to hang out for a few more minutes. If you do have any other questions, I am here. So I'm going to minimize my video, but I hope you all have a wonderful week. And good luck with all your other classes. It's going to get hot starting tomorrow. I'm not excited for that. But I will see you all next Tuesday in the morning at 8:30. And again, I'm going to hang out for about 10 minutes or so if you do have any other questions. But thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. Wonderful week. I'm going to put that here in the chat for you to have a wonderful week. And hopefully next week we'll get a new cat that will show up and I can drag them into the stream with me. Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much for joining me live. I know it's early and I know schedules are complicated, but thank you for being here. I love it, and I will see you all next week. Thank you. That's really sweet of you to say. I do try to put a lot of effort and time into it, so that means a lot to me. Thank you so much for the sweet comment. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for being on here and giving me that energy and effort back. So thank you so much. That's very, 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 very sweet. I'm really in shock. I learned last semester that a lot of professors were just showing like YouTube videos and not doing anything, and that makes me so sad to hear. It's still a class and I still want you to learn and enjoy it, so thank you. And yes, I am very organized, right? A little too organized maybe. We'll talk about disorders of organization later in the semester, but yes, thank you so much. It's very, very kind of you. I really do appreciate it, all of you saying that. Thank you so much. Yeah, if you could type your name in the chat, that would be perfect. That way I have it, and then you can answer the extra credit question up on Canvas. And I think I can post it again here for you really quickly. The extra credit question was, what is a model and why are they important? But yeah, make sure you just put your first and last name in there. Or if you are subscribed, oh, no, you're not. But so yeah, go ahead and put your first and last name. That way I have it, and I will record your attendance. Thank you. All right, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and I will see you all next Tuesday. If you think of any other questions at all, please feel free to email me, and I will definitely get back to you. Otherwise, get going on this week's materials, and I'll see you all next week. Okay, great. Thank you, Brianna. Got it. You too.